Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. This time around I'll be using the Wraith like I promised. Sorry it took me so long. I had to go back into an older save and buy it and whatever, but it doesn't matter. So anyway, the Wraith. The Wraith is essentially just an Eviscerator. It does more damage, but it has less ammo in reserve and less ammo in the clip, which is a bit of a big deal because if you recall, the Eviscerator only had 3 shots in the clip to begin with. But to compare it to the Katana, again, same weight, same capacity, or actually a lower capacity, it's a Wraith, so lower capacity, same fire rate, more damage, better accuracy, and I think it has about the same accuracy as the Eviscerator. So from what I understand, from what I recall, all these stats are exactly the same for the Eviscerator, except this weapon has lower capacity than the Eviscerator, but it does even more damage than the Eviscerator. So let us try it out. So Wraith, point blank range, right from the hip. And it reloads at the exact same speed as the Eviscerator as well, so pretty quick. So as you can see, pretty much same as the Eviscerator. Point blank range, just go for headshots from the hip if you want. Maybe use the sights if necessary. I don't see why it would be, but pretty much the same as the Eviscerator for all intents and purposes. So let us move on to short range. And let us reset. If you were wondering the fire rate, I believe it's about the same as the Eviscerator. As you can see, just like the Eviscerator, this weapon has problems with headshots at short range when it does not have a choke, and you should probably go for center mass and aim down the sights. So now mid-range. And again, just like the Eviscerator, this weapon is better to aim down the sights and aim for center mass at mid-range, and again, we are approaching the end of its accuracy, the end of its range. So, to move on to mid to long. It's a little bit to the right, but I doubt it's going to matter. And just like the Eviscerator, at mid to long range, you're really at the very edge of this weapon's accuracy, probably beyond it, really, but if you must finish off an opponent, you could probably just aim down the sights, get a couple of body shots off on him, finish him off, but really beyond that, you're wasting ammo. And if this is like the Eviscerator, which it will be, we should be beyond the weapon's effective range at this point. Yep. Yes, we are. And if you were wondering, the Eviscerator shoots out 7 pellets. This weapon shoots out 8 pellets. That's another way it differentiates itself. But it also suffers from the bug where if you fire too low, for some reason, it doesn't register on these targets. I don't know if it's the gun or if it's the targets or what. But again, for 8 pellets. So it does also shoot 1 more pellet than the Eviscerator, which makes sense because it does more damage than the Eviscerator. But let us now move on to a choke. Level 2 choke. And as you can see, just like the Eviscerator, we do get a tighter grouping, allowing us to really be able to get headshots off at point-blank range. So we were able to do that anyway. So at point-blank range, a choke doesn't really matter. It's just making our groupings a little bit tighter, so maybe all the shots will hit the head rather than just missing one or whatever. Not necessary, but tighter groupings nonetheless. Now, short range. And once again, just like the Eviscerator, once you throw in a choke, it does allow you to get headshots off reliably at short range, and makes your groupings for center mass so tight that you can just fire from the hip for center mass and not really bother sighting at short range. So again, basically just like the Eviscerator. Moving on. Mid-range. And just the same, can't really get headshots off at mid-range even with the choke, but it does make our groupings tighter when aiming down the sights for center mass, and if you need to, you probably could just shoot from the hip, but you'll do more damage sighting at this range, just as before. But if you need to do a hip shot, because it's twitch or something, go for it. So mid to long range. And again, like the Eviscerator, it does make our groupings a little bit tighter, so we can... I would say it's not a bad idea to sight at mid to long range and shoot for center mass, even shooting from the hip, though I have a feeling this was more lucky than anything else. Yeah, it was. It was more lucky than anything else. In fact, I think a lot of these shots came from our headshot just being low. So at mid to long range, you can certainly do more damage with the choke than you would with just the sights, and I would advise aiming for center mass. Or rather, without the choke. Do more damage than you could without the choke, and I would advise aiming down the sights. Anyway, moving on to long range. And as you can see, we're still pretty much beyond its effective range. If you really had to, you might be able to just get off some center mass shots with the sights at really long range to finish somebody off, but probably not the best use of your time. But that's really it, guys. This is the Wraith. The Wraith is bought from Spectre Requisitions for 250k on the Citadel or 275k on the Normandy. It's essentially just an Eviscerator. It's an Eviscerator that does more damage, and it has less ammo in the clip. So it's an Eviscerator with lower margin of error, but it does more damage. Now the question is, you know, would it be better to get 2 shots with this weapon, or would you rather get 3 shots with the Eviscerator? Because I imagine 3 shots on the Eviscerator will do more damage than this weapon does in just 2 shots. I guess it really depends on the situation and what have you. But again, at point-blank range without a choke, you want to aim for the head. Just fire from the hip. At short range, you want to aim for center mass. Fire down the sights. Mid-range, again, fire down the sights, center mass. Mid to long, again, same thing, fire down the sights, center mass, though not too effective at that point, and then long range is beyond its effective accuracy. Then once you throw in a choke, same thing. At point-blank range, aim for the head. Probably just fire from the hip. At short range, though, sight, fire for the head. Mid-range, center mass, fire down the sights, though you can fire from the hip if you must. And the mid to long, definitely fire down the sights, go for center mass, and it's more viable than it would be without the choke, and long range is still out of your reach. But thanks guys for watching, stay tuned for more. Have a good one.